Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Can I read?
Yeah.
After his sannyas, he was induced to visit the house of Advaita Prabhu in Shantipur. Advaita managed to invite all Mahaprabhu friends and admirers from Nadia and brought Sachi Devi to see her son. Both pleasure and pain invaded her heart when she saw her son in the attire of a sannyasi. As a sannyasi, Krishna Chaitanya put on nothing but a kopina and a bhariswas outer covering. His head was without hair, and his hands bore a danda stick and a kamandalu. Hermit. Please pull it up.
We can't hear.
Can you please pull it up?
Yeah, Kamandalu, hermit's water pot.
Yeah.
So
his head was without hair, and his hands bore a danda and a kamandalu, hermit water pot. Thank you.
So Lord Chaitanya, now he's taken sannyas so that he can give Krishna consciousness to everyone. Because he felt otherwise he was not able to give Krishna consciousness to everyone, and his mission was to give Krishna prem to each and everyone. But all his close associates, all the devotees were heartbroken to see him take sannyas. His mother was heartbroken. He wanted to go to Vrindavan, but somehow the other, Lord Nityananda, brought him to Shantipur from Katwa. Lord Chaitanya took sannyas in Katwa. From there, he wanted to go to Vrindavan. And he was in that ecstasy that I'm going to Vrindavan. But Nityananda Prabhu, he brought him to Shantipur. And
So
then
this was at the age of 24.
24. Correct? It's only 24
And
years old.
what is a kaupina?
This kaupina and a bahirvas. I'm not sure, but it's something like a dress to cover his body, like a small thing.
Like in the picture,
Yeah,
I think we can see.
Yeah, usually he's just wearing like a tiny cloth, Many photos we see.
Yeah, right.
Caitanya Mahaprabhu wearing like that in his sannyas clothes. And so Sachi Mata, they told her also to
before
come.
that he had hair.
Oh yeah, he had beautiful, beautiful hair when he was for
that's why they show,
sannyasi.
right? Two kinds of pictures. Okay.
Yeah, he had such beautiful hair that the barber who shaved his head was crying and crying that how you're making me cut this beautiful hair, and he stopped. From that time on, he stopped becoming a barber because he was so affected that, oh my God, what have I done? So it's like very painful. We are going to read about it in Caitanya Caritamita. The whole pastime, how they describe it, is very painful. His sannyas ceremony. So the mother is, of course, so sad to see her son as a sannyasi. But then he told her, I'm sorry that I've come. I've taken sannyas. You want? I'll go home with you. She said, no, now you've already taken sannyas. Now you remain a sannyasi. Then
The holy son fell at the feet of his beloved mother and said, Mother, this body is yours and I must obey your orders. Permit me to go to Vrindavan for my spiritual attainments. The mother, in consultation with Advaita and others, asked her son to reside in Puri, the town of Jagannath, so that she might obtain news of him now and then. Mahaprabhu agreed to that proposition and in a few days left Shantipur for Orissa.
So Mahaprabhu actually wanted to go to Vrindavan, but Sachi Mata, his mother, told him, no, you please stay in Jagannath Puri. So because there was a lot of devotees going and coming from Navadvip to Jagannath Puri, she said, at least like this, I will keep getting news of you. I will keep on hearing of you.
His biographers have described the journey of Krishna Chaitanya, that was the name he got after his sannyas, from Shantipur to Puri in great detail. He travelled along the side of Bhagirathi as far as Chhatrabhog, situated now in Thane, Mathurapura, Diamond Harbour. 24 Parganas. There he took a boat and went as far as Priyag Ghat in the Midanpur district. Hence he walked through Balasore and Cuttack to Puri. Seeing the temple of Bhubaneswara on his way, upon his arrival at Puri, he saw Jagannath in the temple and resided with Sarvabhauma at the request of the latter.
So it's in earlier days, it was not that they were traveling by buses or trains. He went by foot, traveled by foot from Shantipur to Jagannath Puri. When he reached Jagannath Puri, he saw the deity of Jagannath and he fainted in ecstasy. And that time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was kind of the manager of the temple. And he was the leader of all the Vedantists in Jagannath Puri. He was known to be a great scholar, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya.
Sarvabhauma was a gigantic Pandit of the day. His readings knew no bounds. He was the best Nayanaika of the times and was known as the most erudite scholar in the Vedanta philosophy of the school of Shankaracharya. He was born in Nadia, Vidyanagara, and taught innumerable pupils in the Nayana philosophy in his tola there. He had left for Puri sometime before the birth of Nimai Pandit. His brother-in-law, Gopinath Mishra, introduced our new sannyasi to Sarvabhauma, who was astonished at his personal beauty and feared that it would be difficult for the young man to maintain sannyas dharma during the long run of his life. Gopinath, who had known Mahaprabhu from Nadia, had a great reverence for him and declared that the sannyasi was not a common human being. On this point, Gopinath and Sarvabhauma had a hot discussion. Sarvabhauma then requested Mahaprabhu to hear his recitation of the Vedanta Sutras to which the latter tactically submitted.
So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, great logician, great scholar of the Vedanta Sutra. He's known as a great scholar. He's also born from Nadia, where Lord Chaitanya was born. But he left to go to Jagannath Puri, and in Puri he was teaching then. And his brother-in-law, Gopinath Acharya, he was a great devotee of the Lord. He knew that this Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Lord himself. And he tried to tell Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, but Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, because he was more situated in the impersonal understanding, scholar and Vedas and the Vedanta Sutra and all that. So his understanding was very impersonal. Then Sarvabhauma said, but this young man, he's so beautiful looking. How is he going to remain a sannyasi? And he's so young. Let me teach him properly. And then he told Lord Chaitanya, I'm going to teach you the Vedanta Sutra. So Lord Chaitanya said, oh, all right. All right. And then,
Chaitanya, sorry.
yes, please continue.
Okay. Chaitanya heard with silence what the great Sarvabhauma uttered with gravity for 7 days. at the end of which the latter said, Krishna Chaitanya, I think you do not understand the Vedanta as you do not say anything after hearing my recitation and explanations. The reply of
And then
Chaitanya was that he understood the sutras very well, but could not make out what Shankaracharya meant by his commentaries.
so Sarvabhauma for 7 days he's teaching him the Vedanta Sutra, and then Lord Chaitanya is just hearing it. And then Sarvabhauma is like, hey, do you understand what I'm speaking, or you don't understand at all? There's no comment from you. There's no question, no comment, nothing. So then Lord Chaitanya is like, I understand very well Vedanta Sutra, but I don't understand your commentary of the Vedanta. So then,
Astonished astonished at this, Sarvabhauma said, how is it that you understand the meaning of the sutras, but you do not understand the commentaries which explain the sutras? All well. If you understand the sutras, please let me have your interpretations.
so because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I understand Vedanta Sutra, but I do not understand your commentary. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is scratching his head. He said, what do you mean? Like, you understand the sutra, but the commentary I'm telling you, you don't understand that? What do you mean? Then you tell me what you understand. And then
Mahaprabhu thereupon explained all the sutras in his own way, without touching the pantheistic commentary of Shankara. The keen understanding of Sarvabhauma saw the truth, beauty, and harmony of the argument in the explanation given by Chaitanya, and obliged him to utter that it was the first time he had found one who could explain the Brahma Sutra in such a simple manner. He also admitted that the commentaries of Shankara never gave such natural explanations of the Vedanta Sutras as those he had obtained from Mahaprabhu. Sarvabhauma then submitted himself as an advocate and follower. In a few days, he turned out to be one of the best Vaishnavas of the time. When reports of this came out, the whole of Orissa sang the praises of Krishna Chaitanya, and hundreds came to him and became his followers. In the meantime, Mahaprabhu thought of visiting southern India, and he started with one Krishnadas Brahmana for the journey.
So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he's a very intelligent person. He's a great scholar, so he understands. So then Mahaprabhu started explaining to him the real meaning of the sutras, not how Shankaracharya has explained it. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya could understand, oh my God, this really makes sense. This is perfectly logical. He says, and he genuinely felt, oh my God, this is the first time I've actually understood the truth. I became a very great devotee, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And because earlier Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was so famous as just a scholar, as a logician, and now he's become a great devotee. So the fame of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spread even more. He got even more followers. Then after that, of course, he goes to South India. He traveled to South India for 6 years. Yeah. And then they told him to take one person with him. So then Krishna Das went with him to assist him in his journey.
His biographers have given us details of the journey. He first went to Kurukshetra, where he did a miracle by curing a leper named Vasudev. He met Ramananda Rai, the governor of the Vidyanagar, on the banks of Godavari and had a philosophical conversation with him on the subject of prema bhakti. He worked another miracle by making them immediately disappear, the seven tala trees from behind which Ramchandra, the son of Dhritarashtra, had shot his arrow and killed the great Vali Raj. Mahaprabhu preached Vaishnavism and Nam Sankirtan throughout his journey. At Rangashetra, he stayed for 4 months in the house of one Venkat Bhatt in order to spend the rainy season. There, he converted the whole family of Venkat from Ramanujan Vaishnavism to Krishna Bhakti, including the son of Venkat, a boy of 10 years named Gopal. who afterwards came to Vrindavan and became one of the 6 Goswamis, prophets serving under their leader, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, trained up in Sanskrit by his uncle, Prabodhananda Saraswati. Gopal wrote several books on Vaishnavism.
So in Caitanya Caritamita and Caitanya Bhagavat, all this is described a lot in detail. Here, Prabhupada is just mentioning Bhaktivinoda Thakur's a little bit commentary at how he goes to Kurma Kshetra and then he cures a leper, Vasudev. Vasudev, he was so kind. He was a leper, so his body is full with sores. And then there are worms on his body. And then when the worm would fall down, he would pick up the worm and put it back on the body. Oh, it's so compassionate. Said, oh, that's the food for the worm, not caring for his own physical pain. Lord Chaitanya cured him of his leprosy. And then Ramananda Rai, we're going to hear about it in this book, the discussion between Ramananda Rai and Lord Chaitanya, where Lord Chaitanya is putting all these questions to Ramananda Rai, and Ramananda Rai is replying them. The highest subject of Prema Bhakti, love of Krishna. And then disappearing the 7 tal trees from which Lord Ramachandra killed Vali. Then, of course, he went to Rangashetra. He stayed during the Chaturmas. He stayed in the house of Venkat Bhatta. Venkat Bhatta is the father of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Gopal Bhatta Goswami is one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. At that time, Gopal was a small boy, and Lord Chaitanya had stayed in his house. His father, Venkat Bhatta, his uncle, Prabodhananda Saraswati. So they were followers of Sri Vaishnavas, Ramanujacharya. Means worshipping Lakshmi Narayan as the highest. But by the association of Lord Chaitanya, they also accepted Krishna Bhakti. They understood that serving Radha and Krishna is even higher than serving Lakshmi Narayan. So Prabodhananda Saraswati is the uncle of Gopal Bhatta. He's the brother of Venkata Bhatta. Gopal Bhatta Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, very great personality. He's written many Bhakti Shastras.
Chaitanya visited numerous places in southern India as far as Cape Comorin and returned to Puri in 2 years by Pandharpur on the Bhim. In this later place, he spiritualized one Tukaram, who became from that time a religious preacher himself. This fact has been admitted in his Abhangas, which have been collected in a volume by his Satyendranath Tagore of the Bombay Civil Service. During his journey, he had discussions with the Buddhists, the Jains, and the Mayavadis in several places, and converted his opponents to Vaishnavism.
So during his travels, why is he traveling? He's traveling so that he can give love of Krishna to everyone. That's the reason he's taking up the travels. And so whoever he's meeting, no matter what they are following, they're all getting Krishna Prem. They're all becoming devotees of Lord Krishna. And also specifically mentioned is Sant Tukaram in Pandharpur.
So, what are Abhangas? Is it a kind of a poetry or something? Or his writings?
Yeah, probably his writing. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Probably the writings.
Okay.
So this is Tukaram. What would he sing? And Tukaram himself is saying that.
Oh, okay.
Because, yeah.
Okay. Upon his return to Puri, Raja Pratap Rudra Dev and several Pandit Brahmanas joined the banner of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was now 27 years of age. In his 28th year, he went to Bengal as far as Gora in Malda. There he picked up two great personages named Rupa and Sanatan. Though descended from the lines of the Carnatic Brahmanas, these two brothers had turned demi-Mohammedans by their continual contact with Hussain Shah, the then emperor of Gora. Their names have been changed by the emperor into Dabira Khas and Sakar Malik, and their master loved them heartily as they were both learned in Persian, Arabic, and Sanskrit and were loyal servants of the state. The two gentlemen had found no way to come back as a regular Hindu and had written to Mahaprabhu while he was at Puri for spiritual help. Mahaprabhu had written in reply that he would come to them and extricate them out of their spiritual difficulties. Now that he had come to Gora, both the brothers appeared before him with their long standing prayers. Mahaprabhu ordered them to go to Vrindavan and meet him there.
So Mahaprabhu continues his travels and then he goes to Ramakeli where he meets Rup Sanatan. That's the first time he meets them there. And Rup Sanatan, of course, they're Brahmanas, but then they were working for the Nawab Hussain Shah. And so this was, and also the king of Puri became a great devotee, Maharaj Prataparudra. He became a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya. It's more, all these pastimes are more detailed described in the Caitanya Caritamita and Caitanya Bhagavatam.
Yeah,
Chaitanya
I was
returned.
just checking. Sorry. Yeah, Abang, yeah. Neha, you were saying it's poetry song, devotion
Okay,
song. Yeah.
Of
okay.
Sant Tukaram, what he wrote.
Yes. So Abang is devotional
Okay.
poetry, the song, man.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
devotion, Vittal, na?
Yeah,
Yes.
Vitthal, okay.
For
Because
Vithoba,
Tukaram
Is
was,
also
yeah,
from the Vaishnava. Yeah. That's right.
Vithoba.
okay. Thank you. Chaitanya returned to Puri through Shantipur, where he again met his dear mother. After a short stay at Puri, he left for Vrindavan. This time, he was accompanied by one Balbhadra Bhattacharya. He visited Vrindavan and came down to Prayag, Allahabad, converting a large number of Mohammedans to Vaishnavism by argument from the Quran. The descendants of those converts are still known as Pathan Vaishnavas. Rupa Goswami met him at Allahabad. Chaitanya trained him up in spirituality in 10 days and directed him to go to Vrindavan on two missions. His first mission was to write theological work scientifically explaining pure bhakti and prema. The second mission was to revive the places where Krishna Chandra had at the end of Dwapar Yuga exhibited his spiritual leela for the benefit of the religious world. Rupa Goswami left Allahabad for Vrindavan and Mahaprabhu came down to Banaras. There he resided in the house of Chandrasekhar and accepted his daily bhiksha meal in the house of Tapan Mishra. Here, it was that Sanatan Goswami joined him and took instructions for 2 months in spiritual matters. Should I stop here for so that you can explain that? Or
Oh, you can finish this paragraph.
okay, the biographers, especially Krishnadas Kaviraj, have given us details of Chaitanya's teaching to Rupa and Sanatan. Krishnadas was not a common contemporary writer, but he gathered his information from the six Goswamis themselves. The direct disciple of Mahaprabhu. Jiva Goswami, who was a nephew of Sanatan and Rupa and who has left us his invaluable work, the Shat Sandarbhas, had philosophized on the precepts of his great leader. We have gathered and summarized the precepts of Chaitanya from the books of those great writers.
So Mahaprabhu, because he's continuing his travels, he's come back to Puri through Shantipur so he could meet his mom. And then again he goes to Vrindavan with Balabhadra Bhattacharya. Then he's going to Prayag where he met um, he met Rupa Goswami over there. He instructed Rupa Goswami for 10 days in devotional service, in the science of devotional service. And he instructed Rupa Goswami to go to Vrindavan. One, to write the Bhakti Shastras, and two, the places of Lord Krishna's pastimes had become covered. So to uncover them, to develop them, to establish the temples, that's why he sent Rupa Goswami there. Because now 5,000 years had passed, so everything was mostly covered. Like Lord Chaitanya, when he was visiting Vrindavan, Radhakund Shamkund was just like a small thing in between a rice field. And he said, no, this is Radhakund Shamkund. So it was excavated and made into the way it is now. And then, of course, it's mentioned that as he was traveling, he was, giving everyone Krishna prema, not considering who they are from. And then here is specifically mentioned that he also converted Mohammedans, and they are called Pathan Vaishnavas right now. And then he went to Banaras. Banaras, he was staying with Chandrasekhar Acharya, and he would accept his meals at the house of Tapan Mishra. Tapan Mishra is the father of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. At this time, Sanatan Goswami also comes to Banaras, and Lord Chaitanya instructs him for 2 months. And then Jiva Goswami has also written the Satsandarbhas. And so Prabhupada is saying that he has gathered and summarized all the teachings of Lord Chaitanya from all these various books of these great writers. And of course, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he is the personality who's written the Caitanya Caritamita. He would hear about Lord Chaitanya from the 6 Goswamis. And there were diaries kept by Swarup Damodar Goswami, by Murari Gupta. So that's how he wrote the Caitanya Caritamita. So I think we're almost out of time. Shall we stop
I
here?
just have one question. Yeah, I just have one question. So that means that this book is like, teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatan Goswami, because one chapter says so. Like that means that what he has given to, even to, like, as we are reading in this, that he instructed and gave him.
Yeah.
So like this is all about them, right? That how
Yes,
and
whatever
what
instructions he's given,
he has given.
his
Okay.
teachings. It's focused on the
Hmm.
teachings, not on the pastimes.
Okay.
Caitanya Caritamrita has the teachings and the pastimes, but Prabhupada has just given us, maybe somebody does not have the time to read the entire Caitanya Caritamrita, they can just read the teachings of Lord Chaitanya.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki
Jai.
jai, Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Thank you
Hare
so much.
Krishna.